Fallen. Chapter 3. Broken Diamond. Unlike Celestia and Rainbow Dash, Rarity's staring at me with sorrow and pain. I don't know if it's directed at me or because of what she'd suffered. While some defectors were content to keeping track of their families and friends back home, I'd done my best to avoid doing so. It's why I didn't know about the deaths of Rainbow's parents until today. It was already painful enough to be fighting them. I didn't want anything to hinder me if I had to make a difficult choice in the war. Sadly, some news I did hear about as time went on, and one of those was Rarity's loss of both of her husband and her child. Valiant Wave was one of Twilight's bodyguards ever since we landed on Earth. Celestia had been adamant about her having them since some humans didn't take kindly to us arriving even in the early years. Rarity had been utterly smitten by the handsome Pegasus and soon started to woo him over. The two were soon inseparable, and I was all for supporting their relationship. I was even one of the bridesmaids at the wedding years later. The last happy event the six of us celebrated was when Rarity announced that she was pregnant. But not long after, I finally defected.
Hello, Fluttershy.
Rarity whispers with a small smile.
I'm glad that you're alright. I was worried that Rainbow Dash might actually have killed you. No, but she really came close.
I muttered while getting up to stand face to face with her. She doesn't look as beautiful as I remember her to be. In fact, this is the least graceful state I've ever seen of Rarity. Her mane was barely standing in its proper design, and her coat was slightly brushed instead of the usual dedication that she put into it. There was no eyeliner, no makeup, no lipstick. Even her tail was without its typical curl. However, the worst thing to look at is her eyes. I've seen plenty of broken souls on both sides during my time in the war, and Rarity has a similar look, but more so of a civilian shattered expression than that of a soldier. With a soldier, they're prepared to at least know what awaits them on the battlefield. They train and steel themselves for it even if they end up losing it in the end. Civilians, on the other hand? I've never gotten used to seeing them so disheartened. The average person in life, be it pony or human, wants to get up, to go to their job, hang out with friends, and go to sleep the next day and do it all over again. What happens when your home is vaporized? Your family, friends, and neighbors all killed or transformed into a creature that is programmed to reject everything about you? Seeing massive amounts of terror, fear, and hopelessness as your world crumbles around you while millions die from powers that you can't understand, and thought to be pure fiction just a decade and a half ago. Despite humanity winning the war, it's still suffering, even as victory draws near. And it will still have to suffer for generations. The weight of everything they once knew of their everyday life has been ruined by bloodshed, destruction, and loss. And it was never going to return to normal. Rarity wasn't like Twilight, Rainbow Dash, and Celestia. She wasn't one to fight or get involved in a war, and not just because she didn't want to get dirty. I've seen her hold her own in a fight to defend herself, but Rarity wasn't a soldier. She would never take a life if she could help it, or even fight to the last breath if it came down to it. Rarity was a creator, not a destroyer. This is why I knew deep down, she hated the war as well. She may never have said it or acted on it, but I knew that she was against it. I think even Pinkie Pie was against the war, but like Rarity, she had done nothing out of fear. Yet it was me who had defected to do the right thing. Out of all six of us, I was the one, the pony who was once afraid of her own shadow. I guess we never really know our true potential until the proper time comes.
Are you here to convince me to use my element as well?
I ask with a heavy sigh.
Yes, but I'm not here to force you. I'm here to beg you to do it.
Rarity asks, lowering her head.
If not for the sake of all of us suffering from this war, then at least for me. Rarity, I won't do it.
I answer with a shake of my head.
Not even for you. I won't risk it. For heaven's sake, Fluttershy!
Rarity shouts, glaring at me.
Do you hate us that much that you would see those barbarians slaughter us all? Rape us until we're nothing but broodmares? Fools are being told right now that if humans try to attack us, we must consider the possibility of ending our lives and joining our loved ones in Elysium. And you won't do anything to stop it? What the hell can I do to stop it?
I screamed back. I wasn't that high up in the chain of command for the resistance, nor did I have any political clout with the UN via military or political. I might have been one of the most famous traitors in this war, but I can't stop the burning desire for billions of people's justice.
Even if I was to do this, do you really think that the Elements of Harmony will be able to stop the Thalman generators? They were able to help kill Princess Luna, one of the most powerful beings in Equestria. I know the Elements of Harmony are powerful, but they are still magic. And even if they can resist it, how long will it last? The humans will just make the generator stronger or come up with some other kind of weapon to destroy it. Maybe we can just keep it last long enough to negotiate. They will not negotiate until Equestria is completely and unconditionally surrendered. I know that much at least.
I answer with a tired sigh.
Besides, we both know that Celestia will never do so. Not when she's lost so much. She will never coexist with the species that killed her family, much less the ponies that she loves. She hates humanity, Rarity. I do not know why she does, but she hates them. She'll fight on until her last breath and bring every pony down with her just because that she cannot accept that she was wrong nor live in a world where they exist. The princess is just trying to protect us, Fluttershy.
Rarity states, which only makes me roll my eyes.
You saw it was like those early years when we were here. Our embassies were attacked. We got booed and jeered at Twilight's World Tour and even harassed. Some humans murdered, even raped ponies in the human lands before the war. Not to mention how barbaric some of their cultural practices are. Stoning same-sex lovers to death, slavery, labor camps, plus there was all that horrible— Yes, Rarity, I get it.
I interrupt.
I'm not saying that they're perfect. God knows I've seen that in all the time I've been on this planet. Yet I've also seen ponies and humans playing and enjoying each other's company. Their arts and music were popular before they all got banned. Even their cultural institutions were unique and gained ground. Ponies liked humanity, until Celestia made them all look like demons.
She tries to say something, but I continue.
Plus, they thought of things none of us have ever dreamed of. The idea of representatives in government for the people? That they want to vote to represent them so that their grievances could be heard? It would give the common pony a say in how things are run, instead of just letting the elites or royals guide us. Separation of church and state? There are numerous ponies out there, including Twilight, who never believed in the Church of Harmony. But all other faiths are forbidden or ignored. They have such an influence in our governments and lives that we have no choice but to obey their words as gospel. The humans allow their governments and religions to be separate by having neither influence the other. Not to mention all the significant scientific discoveries that they have made that have changed the world. Advancements that we could have achieved if we worked together with them instead of teaming technology like a bunch of zealous Luddites. Not all the human lands did this.
Rarity pointed out.
China alone is responsible for countless deaths and violations of the so-called human rights that every so-called civilian nation vows to uphold, but never did anything to really defend it. That is true, I'll admit that.
I say with a nod.
But over time, those ideas I talked about were slowly starting to spread and appeal to others. Yes, they had their flaws, but what system doesn't? How were other non-pony citizens of Equestria treated back when we were in our home dimension? Remember how scared we were of Zecora? Ponyville was practically the only place that she felt safe even after that, because there were still other cities and towns that feared her. Non-ponies like her were often treated as second-class citizens at best, because we were so xenophobic about every little creature hurting us due to the past wars and conflicts. Sound familiar, huh? Plus, almost all the nobles in Equestria were unicorns with barely any Pegasus or Earth ponies getting high-class titles or positions. There was also a bias against those who decided to go against the standard racial expectations, such as an Earth pony wanting to study magic, a Pegasus wanting to be a farmer, or a unicorn who wanted to learn weather. What was wrong with them trying? But because it's just not how it's done.
Rarity tried to state.
For over 1,000 years, that's just it, Rarity.
I state as I poke at her chest.
For 1,000 years, Equestria rarely ever changed because Celestia only allowed changes that she thought were proper. Because we all were told that Celestia was the only one who could make the decisions. Either because she has been our leader for so long, or we believed her to be a living goddess. But Celestia has made mistakes. She failed to see her sister suffering until she turned into Nightmare Moon. She failed to see that Cadence was not acting her usual self and was the changeling queen all along.
One thing that she also failed to properly apologize for, now that I think about it.
And now she's made the mistake of assuming the worst about humanity, just like you, and every pony goes along with it because they can't even think that maybe, just maybe, there are other ways out there that work instead of just kissing her royal behind. What do you know?
Rarity growled as she turned away with a huff.
You haven't lost anyone to them, Fluttershy. You have no idea what they've done to us, to me.
Despite having her head turned, I hear a soft sob that makes me close my eyes. I slowly walk over to her and put my hoof on her shoulder.
Rarity, I'm sorry about Valiant Wave and your fall. I know you loved him very much.
She started to sob harder.
And I know that you were excited about being a mother. Believe me, you would have been a great one with how you raised Sweetie Belle all these years. Were you in Dubai when it happened?
Rarity asked.
No, I was still training to be a combat medic. I didn't officially join the war until after Berlin was wiped out. My first battle was San Diego. His legs had been blown off by a grenade.
Rarity slowly closed her eyes and sat down on her haunches. Tears began to cascade down her cheeks as she continued.
They did all they could to save him, but the loss of so much blood. The doctor said that his final words was that he loved me so much. Rarity. They offered me a closed casket funeral service, but I wanted an open one. I wanted to see Valiant's face one last time, even if it was as pale as a ghost and motionless as a rock. I couldn't say anything, not at the wake or the funeral or even at the burial. I couldn't speak. All I could think about was how I had lost my husband, my child's father, to the Celestia damn dirty apes.
She hissed before glaring at me.
They took him from me! They stole him from me! I wanted to see every single one of your precious humans wiped off the face of the planet for what they had done! I wanted to see them all destroyed!
I said nothing. I let Rhodey roar in grief, but deep down I sympathize. I really do wish this war never happened. War never really is easy. Not a lot of things are in life, that's for sure. All we can do is just persist on and hope for the best. Anyways, let's get on to our very generous donators. Top donators are 630, Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, and Only One Thing. Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel Skies, Austin Rollins, CrazyKiller557, StuHex, Will, Omicron Lyrae, Chris, Twinkie, Dospo, Delta Omega, Jack Cadge, Rimslife9852, Madmess Dan, Leslie Prickett, Drake Lovedragon, Hunter Norman, Stephen Bingham, LineGod12, Sorcerer Constantine, Hudzaza, Conver, and many more fantastic people. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.